So contraception, first coming to the word contraception, it is basically something which is contradicting to conception. So contraception, it is to stop from you getting pregnant, and it is to stop from you getting pregnant at a very basic molecular level, when the egg and the sperm are combining and the seed of the baby embryo is forming, and that embryo is about to go drop into the uterus, make it its home to grow further. It is at these three steps that it should be stopped. So contraception is actually very important. Contraception, the idea of contraception and contraceptive products have been available since 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, and still people are very confused about what contraception, why should I opt for this, what is best for me, what is not best for me. All these questions, they really worry them, and then at the end they are like, I don't want to take a contraception right now, or things like that. So contraception is very important, and being a woman, because so many contraceptive devices are directed towards women, which you have to consume, which you have to use, which you have to let your body be subjected to. So being a woman, it becomes an added responsibility to your own health and your own body, where you should be aware of what contraception is available out there, what can you try, how can you try, and then you come and round on one that you want to use. So contraception are divided into various factors according to the way they work. Barrier contraception, like the name suggests, barrier, it prevents sperms from going into the uterus, into the tubes and near the egg. So that is barrier. So basically it holds the seminal plasma, the ejaculate, outside the cervix. That's the idea.
Yeah.
The next is oral. So there are pills. There are pills of various combinations. There are many generations of oral contraceptive pills. So the work of these pills, the basic work of these pills, majority of oral contraceptive pills, contraceptive pills are also divided into two parts. So there are combination pills and there are only progestin pills. So combination pills work in a way where they stop ovulation. If your body is not going to release an egg, even if the sperm comes, even if there is no barrier, you're not using a condom, there is no egg to be fertilized. That is the first thing. Second part, which is progestins, they will not hamper a woman's ovulation. A woman will release an egg, but what they do is they make the home of the baby, uterus, unfavorable for pregnancy. So even if an embryo is coming inside the uterus trying to make it its home, it will not be able to. These are oral contraceptives. Under the bracket of oral contraceptives, there is another subheading, which is emergency contraceptive, which again a lot of oral agents are used. A lot of oral agents are used for emergency contraception. Then comes the intrauterine devices, the devices which are inserted inside the uterus. Whenever there are two types of intrauterine devices, they are hormonal, they are non-hormonal. Non-hormonal, everyone knows copper T. It has been marketed, people have been educated about it very widely in India. There are government programs in place. There are camps in place where women from rural area, rural urban area are educated towards copper T, and they are motivated to go and get copper T inserted. So everyone knows copper T, but then there are a lot of myths also around copper T. So copper T is a non-hormonal. It does not have any hormone in it. It works more with a blocking action and a local action. And another one which I was saying with the hormonal one is Mirena, where it is loaded with levonorgestrel hormone, where again there is very little amount of hormone secreted in your body every single day, which is going to prevent, again, ovulation. It is also going to, in some women it prevents ovulation, in some women it depends on your metabolism. In some women it might not prevent ovulation. Again, it works locally. It makes the endometrium non-receptive for the coming embryo, and that's how you can avoid pregnancy. So contraception is something, in my opinion, it is as common as a sex ed class in school. Contraception is not only about you or a couple or a woman or a man avoiding pregnancy. It is also about your health when it comes to sexually transmitted infections. Now see, PCOS is a very different topic altogether. Oral contraceptive pills are a part of your treatment when you are a PCOS patient, but it depends that are you someone who qualifies, in whom are you someone who qualifies for the use of oral contraceptive pills? Oral contraceptive pills are not the treatment of your PCOD. The treatment of your PCOD is lifestyle modification and diet modification. It is unfair, but you have to do it. Oral contraceptive pills can be used temporarily to buy time so that your hormonal axis is maintained and you get regular periods for 6 months or 9 months or 1 year, where you have time to bring down your weight, to reduce the peripheral fat percentage, and to make diet modifications. But then in very severe cases of PCO, where no matter what you do, mostly lean cases where even weight loss is not an option, it becomes mandatory to use oral contraceptive pills for them to get their periods, because they are completely anovulatory cycles. So the side effects of you not getting your periods and you taking oral contraceptives, if we weigh them, the side effects of you not getting your periods regularly because of PCO is much, much higher than you taking regular oral contraceptive pills. If you are a resistant PCO or a severe PCO who do not get periods without tablets, there is a good chance that very early on in your life, you might develop diabetes type 2, you might develop heart problems, you might develop dyslipidemia. All these problems, plus your hormonal axis is not aligned, and you are somebody who are then more prone to gain weight. And then there are other hormonal factors that start to come in because your body is not maintaining its hormonal axis. So if you're a PCO, what kind of oral contraceptive pills you have to use, it's the same as any other women. You have to try a few and you have to see what suits you. The most common one that we use are very low dose pills, Yasmin or Yas. They also help with acne and acne and hair growth. And another common one is the one that we use with cyprotron acetate, which is most commonly used with PCO women, heavy ovaries, women who have heavy ovaries. So it depends if oral contraceptive is the treatment for you. If it is mandatory, compulsory for you to get your periods, then you have to take it, because like I said, the advantages and disadvantages are different.
Yeah, that is what I always say as well. It's a risk versus benefit kind of thing. If the risks are more, then maybe it's not for you. Also, it just, like you said, it depends on what you want out of your treatment, whether your aim out of the whole PCOS treatment is to get periods. If not getting them is making you really anxious, there are like different aspects involved. One more question that we have, which I think is a great question because it's very relevant to our audience, is what are your suggestions to women in early 20s to take care of before they get sexually involved? And the two vaccinations that Dr. Ankita spoke about were the cervical cancer vaccine, quadrivalent, because it takes care of 4 strains of the virus, HPV virus, and the hepatitis B vaccine. So hepatitis B generally now is also included in babies' vaccinations, but a lot of us have not been vaccinated. The time we were born, it was not covered. So make sure you get it. If you've had it as a child, make sure you get a booster now. So that was about it.
To bring this one thing you had said about pap smear in women who are 20s. Let's quickly touch upon the injectable part of contraception and the IV. So in injectable contraception, we have 2 types of injections. Now these injections, they give you a good contraceptive cover for 90 days. So if you are somebody who's taking these depot injections, so if you've taken at X date in a month, within 90 days, around 80-85 days, your next appointment is scheduled. And before the first depot injection wears off, the next one is given. So yes, it works very well. But then again, these are concentrated hormone injections that you are taking inside your body. Once given, cannot be withdrawn. Once it's inside your body, it's inside your body. Some women face irregular menses. Some women might get menses once in 3 months, once in 4 months, once in 6 months. They come with the whole thing of injectable contraception. So if you are taking injectable contraception, understand these menstrual irregularities in your body that might take place, learn about them, and then take the decision, and be very, very very specific that not to miss your appointment, to take it on this particular day. Keep a reminder, start reminding yourself 1 week in advance, and don't miss that appointment. Injectable contraceptives are actually very convenient and very good for women who have a very high demanding life in matters of their job or in any other activity that they're doing, because it's just 4 visits in a year and you're good to go. Another thing about the IUDs. IUDs is also a very good modality of contraception. There are many myths around IUDs. It causes some pain. It causes some extra bleeding. It might not suit you. But these come with all kinds of contraception that we have discussed today. So intrauterine device is something you can get it put for 3 to 5 years and you are done. So there are medicated ones like Mirena. If you are someone who has bleeding problems, who have uterine fibroids, who have repeated polyp formation, who has a menorrhagia where you bleed for too many number of days, you can definitely get a Mirena IUD. It will be therapeutic as well as will give you contraception. If there are no problems, you have absolutely regular menses and you want it purely for contraception, you can very well opt for Copper T. It has local action. It causes inflammatory reaction inside your uterus and makes it unsuitable for the baby to grow. That's about it. And it takes one visit to the doctor to insert it. It's a painless procedure or there's slight discomfort and one single visit to withdraw it. Along with calendar method, we did not talk about conventional methods of contraception where people use calendar method where they map their period. They know that so you need to have regular menses for calendar method. They map their period. They observe the symptoms of their body. What symptoms are they getting pre-ovulatory or near ovulation? And in that week, they either abstain from sexual intercourse or they use a barrier contraceptive or the partner does not ejaculate inside the vaginal cavity. Another thing is withdrawal method, where again, you are not using a barrier or you're not using any hormonal pill, but when the male partner is about to climax, he just pulls out and ejaculates outside. There is just one little problem. There is something known as premature ejaculation, a bit of ejaculate that could be ejaculated prematurely, which the male partner cannot control. So even if the major chunk of seminal plasma is getting ejaculated outside of the woman's body, there is still a 20% chance that you might get pregnant with withdrawal method if that premature ejaculate is already inside the vagina.
But I'm so scared of educating people about natural methods since it's like very half-baked knowledge if it's not used correctly.
Yeah.
It ends up like this. But very good to know for people who are dealing, like you said, with special conditions.
Yes.
And I'm glad you brought up diabetes because it's very relevant to our populations that we cater to today.